great pleasure that I welcome you all to the 7th edition of the Piafo Forum. This year's focus is on strengthening the protection of critical information infrastructure in Nigeria through proactive implementation and strategic coordination. Louisa Olani is my name. I'm a broadcast journalist. As you all know, we're in an era where digital transformation is at the heart of national development, and safeguarding our critical information infrastructure is no longer an option. It is an absolute necessity. And today we gather here as industry experts and stakeholders to engage in insightful discussions, exchange best practices, and chart a proactive course for securing Nigeria's digital assets against emerging threats. I want to believe that we're going to have a swell time today. All our speakers are here already, and we're starting right now.
The theme of today's summit, strengthening protection of critical information infrastructure through proactive implementation and strategic coordination, reflects our commitments to addressing all these challenges. Yes, the Office of National Security Advisor has been tasked with the implementation of the CNI order, but every stakeholder must join forces to achieve success, and that explains why we are here today. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to express my gratitude to our sponsors and partners for their unwavering support. Your contributions are invaluable to our mission, and I want to tell you on behalf of the entire Piafo team that we do not take your support for granted. Thank you very much for always being with us. As we embark on today's discussions, I wish you all a fruitful and impactful dialogue. Let us continue to work together to safeguard Nigeria's digital economy and ensure that we bequeath a secure digital future to generations to come. Thank you for listening.
The regulation started over 20 years ago. There's no doubt that the early infrastructures are now of age. No doubt. Fiber cable laid 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Lots of them are coming, if not already at the end of the night. So there's certainly a need for us to look at how best to optimize what we have to minimize incidences of failure that will arise according to an account of the age of the infrastructure. I think that's one key component, because we have been on this journey for industry sustainability, and now that we're able to achieve that, the pendulum will now tilt towards good quality service.
We talked about looking inwards before we look outwards, but where do we meet? Where can we all meet? If there is a proper standard and implementation of the standard, that would be the ground for students. You deploy infrastructure. If you deploy infrastructure in a manner that is already designed to fail, it's going to fail. So how do you ensure these things are properly done? It's by ensuring that you build the right standards and ensuring, and that is where the how will I put it, the convergence of the sector or the stakeholders will be, because government will enforce, private sector will comply, and we'll all be harmonized. As long as we don't build to the right standards, do things in the proper manner, Mega mentioned about manhole covers, although there are other issues that they also break the concrete around the manhole, even if the key, but still, it's a deterrent.
The minister has announced 90,000 kilometers initiative for communications to get there. But getting the broadband out there is one thing, the adoption is another. So how do you drive adoption? Everything comes around the access devices, the telephony, and everything that sits on the other side of the national infrastructure to get it done, right? But the data center is required for you to get the adoption. And once you get that adoption, then you drive the economic benefits. Now, if you put the data centers at the right places to host the systems and then to have the connectivity, plus the power to go with it, then you have that sort of total ecosystem of digital infrastructure, which includes energy.
Then I thought of myself at the data center, what does it mean in terms of the Critical Infrastructure Act? Well, the Act covers, I think, 13 sectors. In one way or another, either they're clients to me or I'm a client to them, and therefore no chain is stronger than a weaker link. I need all those 13 sectors either to help me or for me to help them, because they have their critical assets at my data center.
Internet service providers face growing challenges. We've heard that since morning, from cyber threats and infrastructure vulnerabilities to regulatory pressures and the need for continuous investment in security technology. So, to help us navigate these challenges, we have these outstanding panel experts to bring deep knowledge and experience in securing ISP network and infrastructure. I've introduced the panelists, so please give them another round of applause.
Impact. We have suffered a lot of theft. We're having issues with going back and forth with our insurance people. We find some of our equipment and batteries in the market in Alaba. We are going to buy our own batteries back. How did it get here?
We've had a lot of comments here today that people come to steal infrastructure. But when you're installing those infrastructure, how well, in the case of fiber, how well did you deploy? To what depth? So that's part of design. People talk about access to manhole covers, even access to content of the manhole themselves. When you were designing, how well did you design the infrastructure itself? What's the concrete ratio mix? What level of reinforcement did you put inside? What's the design? So once you start from the first principle, you can at least achieve some level of protection with that.
In terms of the security, for now, like I was always say, and what we know, that we can't really protect what we don't know. So La Simra on its part has embarked on tower enumeration. That's to have the full data of what we have, then the fibers and where we have them. Because it is where we know, or where we have the full data of all this, that we'll be able to protect them. Because in terms of road construction, if we are aware that like the fiber underneath on a particular route, we will know how to protect that stuff.